What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I have Aiden, Galea joining me in Thailand. We're doing a trip over the next 3 weeks and it's absolutely insane. But I wanted to really sit down with you while we're in this magnificent villa in Koh Samui just to talk about sales tips, tricks, mastering sales, how to get clients, mistakes that beginners make and how you can avoid them. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video.
Thanks for that. So basically just a brief introduction of myself, because I haven't done too much of, putting myself out there on content, but I've been doing sales for probably the better part of 5 years now. Firstly, starting out actually doing my own agency. It's how I met Cody to begin with. And since then, I've actually honed my career into mainly focus on sales. Obviously being in sales for 5 or 6 years now, I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I've definitely closed a lot of sales and I've done quite well in the roles that I've, taken on board as a salesperson. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what I can do to share, and obviously having an open discussion with Cody as well. I think it would be interesting for everyone. So
awesome, man. Awesome. So yeah, we've got some whiskey, we've got some cigars, so it's just going to be a casual conversation at the end of the day. So let's go. Let's get into it. It's good. All right. Firstly, I want to talk about, your philosophy around sales and the cold approach, right? Because majority of my audience are in the agency space and they're very new. They're either trying to sign their first client, or maybe they've signed their first, second, or even third client, but they're looking to get more consistent with not only the outreach, but also conducting the sales calls in the proper manner. So that's what I'd really like to know from you and hear your thoughts on.
Cool. This is a good topic because I feel like a lot of people starting out in sales, I know for myself, it's such a daunting thing. The idea of getting on the phone, the idea of putting yourself out there with videos, it's a lot. I know I've made a lot of mistakes in sales. A lot of the time I would, really just feel a lot of anxiety even around getting on the phone, sometimes pacing up and down the room and just, even getting on the phone and then even asking for the order. That was another part which was, terribly hard to do. What I would say is, it's one of those things where it is a skill that does, for most people, take a lot of time. Of course, there's always going to be those people that just pick it up and they can go with it. But for the vast majority of us, it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey. So you have to be willing, if you're going to be successful in an agency, if you're going to be successful selling, persuading, which by the way is a useful skill, not only in sales, but as we know, in every aspect.
Life.
Every aspect. It can help you with women. It can help you with your relationships. It will help you in business. It will help you with friendships. It literally will improve your quality of life once you understand sales, the psychology of persuasion and making it as elegant as possible. Now, when starting out, I would say don't focus too much on the theory of sales. I would always recommend people to get started with maybe 1 or 2 books. Maybe I like a book called Pitch Anything, Oren Klaff, great book, talks about controlling the frame. It's based on psychology. My favorite sales books are not about sales, or favorite sales content is not about sales, it's about psychology. And this is the reason why I actually learned to fall in love with sales, right? Psychology. So there was Influence, Robert Cialdini, I think that's how you say his name, Oren Klaff. They're 2 great books, 2 great places to start. But ultimately, in terms of, I think your question was around selling in an agency, starting out, it's important to remember why people decide to go with you as an agency over anyone else. Okay, so it's important to remember selling an agency, you're trying to compete against a lot of other agencies. People will choose you simply because they will end up trusting you. They trust you to deliver on the return on their investment. It's as simple as that. So the first thing you need to do, the only thing that you can really do to stand out as a beginning agency owner, is deliver a lot of upfront value. Okay? Figure out where your time and attention will be best spent. Okay, the people that are going to be watching these videos, people that are going to be, listening to what you have to say, people that really need the help. Spend your time really investing into people that, would appreciate, getting some of that upfront value. Be not afraid to deliver on that upfront value. And by that, I mean, even just pointing out things that they might need to change, pointing out, this is something you can do. You could do this, whether it be in the form of a video, whether it be in form of, even just a cold call and, delivering a little bit of value in 5 minutes, even having a few written down points, things that you can deliver, maybe statistics, maybe, about, Mr. that, having having X or Y can really help you, deliver your, maybe 20% more customers in a month, for example, and you're, compared to your competitors in the local area, your website is ranking underneath them, blah, blah, blah. Do you know that I can fix that in only like a couple of months? And already then you can catch their attention. Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's probably the beginning tips that I've got.
So I really like that. And I think you touched on something which is providing upfront value. But I think I've said this a lot on my channel, which is when a lot of people are starting out, they're scared to put up that upfront work. And they just don't want to do the perceived boring work, right? But it's the boring work that moves the needle forward. And I've said this so many times, right? And it's like, this work that you're talking about isn't fun. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous, right? Doing your market research, figuring out what their pains, problems, desires are. Like, it's not fun, guys. But at the end of the day, it is what's necessary to move the needle forward. And I think, having someone else say that is refreshing, because it's not just me on the YouTube channel blurting out the same message like every few videos, right? So now I want to talk about some of the mistakes that you see a lot of not just agency owners make, but in regards to sales, but just salespeople in general make, right? Yeah. So I know you've got 5 years experience at agency sales. You've done high ticket consulting. I mean, you've sold over, you were pretty modest at the beginning with the intro, but you've sold over multi-seven figures worth of services and online products, right? So I'd love to hear your, ideas around that, and what are the mistakes that you see a lot of people make, and I guess some of the more common mistakes, because I'm sure there's a pattern, right?
Easy. There's a lot. There's a lot of mistakes people make. Probably the first one is a lack of persistence, just giving up. You got to realize that if you want to succeed in this game, then you got to stick with it. That's number one. Another big mistake people make is using a lot of the sales tactics that they know work, but in a cheesy way, without really remembering, right, that what you're doing is having a conversation with a human being. Okay, you're having a conversation with a human being. Yes, scarcity, it works. Yes, the law of okay.
What?
There's a law of I can't even say the word. Cut that bit out. I'll say it again. A lot of the persuasion laws, they work really well, but there's a difference between, doing it in a cheesy way and doing it in an authentic way, that can actually shows that you want to help them, right? So, I think if people would focus more on the fact that this is a casual conversation, if people were to chill out a lot more in their sales conversations, you don't need to really be a pro in sales to make sales. If you're chill, if you're confident, then everything else, really, the structure of a sale, delivering on the product, value, and then talking about, how you can help them get to their end goal, applying scarcity, getting the deal closed. All these things are important, but not essential to getting the deal. If you just put in the grit and you put in the value up front, you're confident and you're chill, I think you'll start getting some sales, and from there you'll get motivated and you'll make more sales. So I think that's massive as a beginner. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more, right? Sorry, I didn't like yours.
We'll pick that up.
So I couldn't agree more. I think it's really important, and I've said this so many times, it is a conversation. Don't treat it as a sales call, right? We're not in the 1980s or 1990s or even the early 2000s anymore, right? Treat it as a conversation with another person, and that's it. That's all it is. All you're doing is seeing where they're at now and where they want to go, and then providing that solution, providing that bridge. And that's really what you need to focus on. Those are the three main things that I believe you need to focus on. I think for me in the beginning, the reason I sucked was because I thought you needed to, deliver all these different services and provide all these different things. And, you had to get technical and tell them about this and that. And, that actually pushes them away, right? That actually makes them not want to do business with you, right? If you keep it simple, if you keep it clear, if you keep your pitch concise, your pitch should only be a couple of minutes, right? The rest is just asking questions, seeing where they're at, what they're currently doing, why they're doing it that way, what they could be doing better, and just asking these questions, right? And I can't tell you the exact questions to ask because I think it's got to flow. The conversation has to flow. And I think that's something that I made the mistake of, is trying to keep everything really scripted and really rigid, but it doesn't work. Yep. It's really based on how that conversation is going with the prospect, and then you can ask those other questions, those additional questions to get the answer that you're looking for. Yep. Right? So yeah, I think that's huge, and I think that's something that a lot of people just don't do.
Yeah, so awesome point to add on that when it comes to a script, because a script, mind you, is very important. Okay, although you can, like Cody's saying, you can use the script, but then, don't rely so heavily on the script. This is something that happens as you develop as a salesperson. When I started out in sales, and anyone that is teaching sales that I'm learning, or I'm helping to learn sales, I would say use a script in the beginning. Definitely you need a script, okay? When you're on a sales call, it's great because you can read from a script, and you can, you don't have to, like when you're on video, you can't read from a script. But, this is something that is a bit more advanced. However, use the script in the beginning. Really try and get the tonality of each, even if you need to highlight different sentences for different levels of tonality that you want. This will help you become and develop as a salesperson. You really, really, really need to do that at the beginning. Now, as you develop as a salesperson, you will rely less and less on the script. Okay, you will always have a script there, but the script will only be, a means to have I call it the gold. Okay, that's what I've been taught from a mentor of mine. It's the gold. So you need something to say, you need a rebuttal, you've got the gold there, so you don't run out of things to say. But, the conversation could be so dynamic. It's so dynamic eventually, you might need to change different, based on what someone says, you have to divert, but then you'll come back onto the script, you'll divert, you'll come back onto the script. But definitely this is a huge mistake people make as a beginner in sales, is trying to divert because you don't know how to bring it back, or you don't know how to get the sale, then you end up just being lost and flustered, you run out of, and you're like, this is way off track, Everyone has those moments where the conversation goes way off track. But if you follow the script, you avoid that in the beginning, your percentage of closing is going to be so much higher. And then as you develop more as a salesperson, you can start to then rely on that script a lot less. Okay, so yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I liked your point about highlighting. So it's something that I've spoken about, which is the tonality is more important, and how you say it is more important than what you actually say, right? And it's the delivery. I think Jordan Belford talks about this a lot as well with his straight line selling system. It's like the first 5 seconds on a cold call matter the most, but on the sales pitch, it's really about how you deliver and how you present than what you say, because all the prospect wants is a solution to their problem. Now, if you have a good offer, you're going to be able to do that, and you just got to make it a no-brainer, and you've got to make them think that you're the right person to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah, that's good.
So this is actually something that I think a lot of beginners will struggle with, and I personally did as well. I'm not sure about you, but when I was between that 0 to 5K, even when I got from 5 to 10K, pipeline was something that I really struggled with. So once I signed new clients, I wouldn't be consistent with my outreach and have enough sales calls, right? So then what happened? I went dry, right? Clients left, and I didn't have anyone else in the pipeline to replace those clients, right? So that's something I want to talk to you about, which is just how to keep your pipeline full. Why does it matter? And really just some tips on always staying in front and not getting complacent. Okay. Because I think a lot of agency owners get complacent once they get a couple of clients. They think, oh yeah, I'll stop my outreach now. I will just focus on delivering results, which is great, and that's awesome. You need great results. But sales is key.
Brilliant topic. This is again circling to one of the other huge mistakes that beginning agency owners make, and it's a pipeline that just sucks. I made this mistake. Cody has made this mistake. Guys, you need to be doing sales like 80% of the time. This is the 80-20 rule. This is like the 80% of the work that's going to bring. This is the top 20% of things you should be doing in your agency that's going to deliver you 80% of your return, 80% of your money, everything. Okay, and it's going to even help you develop faster. This is something that you need to get into your mind. Making sales will make you a better marketer. Making sales will make you a better business owner, better agency owner. Yes, you will make mistakes. Yes, you will need to learn how to hire. Yes, you will need to learn how to outsource. Yes, you might need to learn Google ads, Facebook ads, how to do retargeting, how to make a website, pixel. You're going to need to know all this stuff. Of course, it's going to become important. But believe me, a lot of these things can be outsourced relatively cheap if you're resourceful and you're spending, that remainder of 20% of your time interviewing people, on who can do this, who can do that, who can be at your disposal for this and that job. That's fine. What you need to know is you need to understand your product and how it works, okay? But you don't need to necessarily have it all down pat and be a master of it completely right away. What you need is clients to serve, okay? That you can at least generate a small profit on in the beginning. Okay, that way you can get that work done, you can outsource it, etc. But you need to be contacting new people all the time, every day. You need to have the people, like the start of the pipeline will be the beginning stage of the outreach, right? You're calling, you're emailing, you're making Loom videos, like screen recorded videos, giving value, showing, etc. Generating people that are interested, that would like to have a call with you, that would like to find out a little bit more with you. Then you've got a calendar that's going to have booked calls in it, right? Booked calls are people that actually have watched the video, they've they've actually invested, they've found out a little bit more about you, maybe they've done a Google search, they've inquired, right? Then those people will come into your sales call pipeline. You then pitch them. A percentage of them will then close on the first call. There will be a percentage, but in the agency game, business to business, not all of them will, okay? The more, the better that you close on the first call, the more you can close on the first call, definitely the better. But I do know in an agency game, even huge agencies in Melbourne, that I know that are local, they have their sales pipeline can stretch out a few months. That can happen for big deals, right? Multi-5-figure, 6-figure deals, they can. Okay. And then, that's the final stage of the pipeline, the follow-up pipeline. But you're going to be paying attention to all stages of the pipeline every day. Like you're making 20, you're making 50 new contacts, you're making 100 new contacts each day. A percentage of those are funneling down, and then a percentage of those going to follow up, and a percentage of those then end up closing. Closing your first couple of deals, great work. Don't stop this. No. Okay, don't stop. You're gonna want to deliver results. You're gonna probably freak out and be like, oh, well, what do I do? How do I get these person's result? That's okay. That's cool. It's normal. Very. But you're gonna spend 20% of your time focusing on that. Okay, but you're going to be getting the people that you need to help you. You're going to be outsourcing. I think Cody has, teaches a lot of this in his one-on-one program, which I think is great because a lot of people don't know how to do. Like the chance of people like knowing all this stuff from scratch is going to be, very slim because The reality is that, you know, you might burn a few clients if you don't have the proper direction on how to do these things. But you need to, because otherwise you're just not going to have any cash. It's not going to be viable. But you need to keep that pipeline huge, you know, all the time. Eventually you will outsource the prospecting. Eventually you will outsource the closing, you know, and you'll be closing along with maybe another closer. You'll have, you know, 2 or 3 prospectors, and your time can then back off from it, and you can spend more operational, you know, higher level stuff, whether it's hiring, whether it's systems, whether it's automation. You know, these things are going to then become more important to you. But in the beginning, it's simply sales. You know, think of an agency as a sales machine. It's a great cash flow machine. You can always be making sales. The better you are at sales, the more your agency is going to make. It's a cash flow machine, but you are going to have clients drop off, but no matter how good you are. And so you always need to be making new sales.
Yeah, so I think one more thing that I wanted to add on that personally, which was, like, in my experience, when I was at that 5 to 10K mark, I got very complacent. So, you know, I stopped all outreach, basically, right? Yeah. So I always recommend 100 pieces of outreach every single day. But what did I do? I stopped because I had 3, 4 clients, 5 clients, and I thought, no, I need to get them results. And then, you know, of course, after 3, 4, 6 months, one of them leaves, or maybe 2 of them leave, and all of a sudden your revenue's down and you've got no one else to fill the pipeline. And I like what you said. Even if you get great results, I can guarantee you will still lose clients. And the reason is they just want a better deal. Right? They outgrow you. They don't align with you anymore. I remember there's a big agency in California in the US. The retainer for this client was 6 figures per month. Right, it was huge. It wasn't a retainer, it was a percentage of ad spend, right? So it was 6 figures per month. This brand, the client was making millions of dollars per month, millions. And the brand owner called up the CEO of this agency and said, I'm not happy. I think we should cut ties. This was after 12 months of working together. They scaled the brand from literally 100,000 a month to like 3.9 million or something. So they should be extremely happy. Yeah. But 12 months later, the brand owner calls the agency owner up and says, hey, I think we're going to move on. You know, I don't want to pay this high of a fee. So I don't think it matters, you know, how good a results you deliver. Prospects are always going to be unhappy at some point. So you always need to keep your pipeline full. So if someone leaves, you're gonna be able to fill that with another client.
Yep. Yeah. A point on this, and it's about retention, because the thing is, like what he said always clients will become unhappy. The majority of the time, they 100% will. The average client duration is like 3 months, I think, for an agency, which is actually not a bad thing. That's a great thing, you know, because you can get 3 months worth of recurring income for making one sale. That's fantastic. Some clients will last you a year, some clients will last 2 years, some clients will be with you for 5 years, and the more of those you have, great, you know. But some clients will leave after a month, some clients will want their money back straight away, you know. But this is okay. The number one reason why clients leave, is mismanaged expectations. This is huge. So what you want to do, when you sign on a client, is manage their expectations correctly. They need to know that it's going to take X amount of time for you to deliver on such a result. They need to know that they're not going to become a millionaire overnight from working with you, because a lot of people are just signing up clients because they, want a magic pill, or signing on with an agency because they want a magic pill to save their dying business. Unfortunately, you don't want those clients. No. Yeah. I think it'd be a great topic to even talk about the right type of client.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. What type of clients does an agency really want?
One thing with this is also with my program, I get on a lot of calls, right? And a lot of the guys, some of the guys that get on the call, they just want that magic pill, that magic bullet of that secret sauce. They just want, like, what do I exactly do? And it's like, look, man, that doesn't exist. It's hard work, persistence. Yes, you can follow the right framework, and yes, it works, right? Which you can see with all my results. But I always say, if you're not going to do your end of things, it's not going to, what I do and the program is not going to help you at all, right? It's the same with clients. If you sign on a client and they think you're going to do all the heavy lifting and they don't have to run their business, they're dead wrong, and you don't want to sign those clients, right? And you're going to think you should sign those clients because maybe they're going to be your first client and you can get that retainer and it's going to be amazing. But I'm telling you right now, because I've made the mistake of signing on my first 2 clients that had these issues, do not do it. Don't take the money because it's not worth it. So yeah, I think that's a great topic to jump into, because I think especially when you're starting out, you think every client is a good client, but it couldn't be further from the truth.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, I guess what makes a good client, some red flags, like what you sort of look for in a client and what you kind of avoid.
Cool. So simply said, an agency cannot save a bad business. Okay, an agency cannot save a bad business. There are good businesses, so you need to be prepared to identify what is a good business, what is a good opportunity, and what are going to be the highest return on investment, sort of, the highest impact, skills or services that an agency can provide. And you want to provide those high impact skills to rich clients. Basically, the richer the client, the better. Okay, you need to have a successful business, someone that has a marketing plan, people that have teams, they're in a position to hire agencies. As a beginner, you're very likely, you're going to be thinking, you want to go for all these beginner businesses, one-man bands, startups, and, you literally do not want, not all money is built equal. Some money is toxic. You want to get the hell away from that. One of my mentors taught me that tip, Jeremy Haynes, great dude, great marketer. He's made a lot of money in the agency game. And he taught me that. He was always like, you want rich clients because you work with rich clients, you'll get rich. They have a good mindset. They're like you vibe with them. They're the people that you want to work with. You don't want to just work with, you can sign on a bunch of duds and you can have this churn and burn business. And believe me, a lot of agencies are like that. They have a churn and burn model where they'll just pressure sell these like newbies on like low ticket services, and they'll have hundreds of clients and they can make a great business out of it and basically deliver no results to anyone. But that's not, that's not necessarily, ethical. It depends on what your line of ethics is, but you're going to have so much more fun if you're working with rich clients that, want to work with you, that are happy to invest in a marketing agency, that, have staff that are making a lot of money, and where you can actually make a genuine impact. Because the thing is, even if you're a great marketer, you're not having, you might think, oh no, what's wrong with me? I'm not getting any results for any of my clients. No, the business is just bad, but a good business, a lot of the time, you can just, you have a good idea of a marketing campaign, you run your Facebook ads, you run your Instagram ads, and you're making good money with them. Great, fantastic, but that ain't going to happen with a bad business. So stay away from those businesses, learn to identify toxic businesses and stay away from them. Do not fall into the trap of signing on those clients.
So what would you say then is a couple of things to look out for when talking to businesses to figure out if they're toxic or if they're going to be actually a good client? Well, you have to learn how to identify these red flags, desperation. If a business seems to be bleeding cash, losing money, and they're desperate, they will be the first clients to push the blame on you, to call you at midnight and be like, what's happening? Why aren't we making money? They're complaining to you. They're blaming their failing business on you. But it's a bad mindset. So you want to look out for a bad mindset. You want to look out for desperation. You want to look out for money bleeds, and you want to stay away from them. That's, I would say, the number one. So yeah, now I really want to just touch on the sales call framework, right? And what that sort of means for you, because I think everyone's got a different style, which is okay. And I think too many people here on YouTube watch multiple videos and then they actually get conflicted advice, right, on what to do. But what I say is, yes, follow a script like we were talking about earlier, but you've got to adapt it to you, right? How I speak is going to be different to you, and how you speak is going to be different to the audience watching, right? So you've got to adjust it based on who you are and your personality and what you feel comfortable with, because at the end of the day, if you're saying things because it's on the script but you don't feel comfortable with it, it's going to show, and the prospect will tell you're not comfortable, and it's going to be a complete waste, right? You might as well not do it. So I want to talk to you about, I guess, the sales structure and the framework that you go about. Like, we've done the discovery call, right? They're qualified, they're a good fit for our service and our offer. Okay. So we're on a Zoom call. I guess, how do you go about closing that deal, and what does that structure sort of look like?
Yeah, cool. So I guess my take on this is, let's say you've ticked all those boxes. The client's a good fit. You've got a great frame on that call because, they can see that they're treating you as a professional. They're seeking for legitimate help, and you've branded yourself correctly positioned yourself correctly as that expert. That's always, I've got to say, that's number one. But let's say that you go ahead and you do all that. Well, the first thing that you're going to be doing on a sales call is, introducing yourself, basically setting the tone. That's always going to be number one. You're setting the tone of what the call is going to be. You're setting the expectations, because a lot of the time people, they're afraid to get to be sold. They don't know what to expect. They're jumping on this call. A lot of the time they're just like, what's going to happen? So you need to let them know what to expect, and you need to be prepared to allow them to disarm. Allow them to become comfortable by just letting them know, the call's going to go for X amount of time. This is what the agenda is. I'm going to ask you so and so questions, and if you like it, then if you would like to work together, we can do that. If not, then it's okay. I can refer you to someone else, or etc. Then they can feel like, okay, then they know what's going to happen, and then it allows you to take control of the call. Okay, that you always need to be able to do that.
Just one note on that. I think controlling the call is really important. You can't let the prospect control the call. If they control that intro, it's not a good sign, right? That intro and how you position it and how you frame it is really, really important. So set the agenda as soon as possible, because they're coming onto the call. Even if you're a complete beginner, you have no clients, and you're talking to a business owner that's super successful, maybe they're a multimillionaire. They're coming to you because they don't know how to solve that problem, right? So don't think they're higher than you. You're actually at the same level because they're on that call with you because they want help from you. So don't get intimidated by it. I definitely did when I started out. I spoke to a lot of very, very successful individuals and companies, and I kind of got scared off, and they just said, look, I'm here talking to you for a reason, right? And so set that agenda, and that's just something I wanted to add.
Cool. Now, a good sales call has a lot of questioning, okay, and a lot of listening. Less talking, more listening. You don't want to be pushing something down someone's throat. The more you can a lot of the time, people need to vent. Okay, if you've got a venter on your hands, you need to let them vent. Let them talk about their problems. Let them talk about X and Y and Z. Okay, now then ask them. The better I've got at sales, the more I've understood just how to ask the right questions at the right time. Okay, the right question will get them talking. We'll be like, yes, this person understands me. That's what they want to feel. Okay, they want to feel understood, and if you ask the right questions, they will feel listened to, and they'll feel understood. They feel at ease, and this is how you make a sale. So I would say once you've done that, once you've asked them, the right questions, then it becomes time for you to have a good sales presentation, a good presentation of exactly the services that you feel are going to help them get them from where they need to be. And once you've done that, then it's quite simply then making your offer, knowing in advance how much you need to provide, how much you want to charge for particular services. That way you're prepared, and then having basically a structure on how to close that sale. And this is where it comes down to, you do need a structure on the close, because asking for the order, asking for the sale, these things can be difficult. But in advance, be prepared with how to take a payment, have an even after you make the sale. This is so crucial as well. Once you've made the sale, you need to know what you want to say, because a lot of the time buyer's remorse can come in if you don't sound confident after you've taken the payment. But congratulating them properly, letting them know what's going to happen now, what to expect, an email, a phone call, blah, 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 and then ending it, say, no problem, we'll speak later, and then go. Cool. That's what I would say is very important in terms of structure.
Cool. And do you have some questions that you like to ask, like specific questions that you really like to ask to get that prospect, I guess, to open up? Because what happens, I think a lot of people jump on calls and, these people give one-worded answers. I think it does come down to the question, right? People just don't know how to ask the right questions. I think we always get told there is no wrong question, there is no stupid question, but that's not true. I think Mark Cuban said it, like the questions you ask determine how well you're going to do, like how well you're actually going to succeed. And I really like that, because if you're asking stupid questions, beginner questions, that person already knows where you're at. So the questions that you ask determine really your success. Yep. Right. So yeah, I'd just like to know if you have any, if not, that's okay. But do you have any specific questions that you like to ask to get that prospect to really open up?
Cool. No problem. And this is why it's so important, I think, especially if you're starting an agency, if that's what you want to do, whether it's starting an agency, whether it's getting in a sales gig, you need to have identified the structure, the questions. These sort of things are really important. The right questions, when to ask them. And this is why I think, I've looked inside Cody's course. I think it's brilliant. But one question I love to ask at some point in the call is, what do you think has prevented you, Cody, from getting XYZ result in the past? Allowing them to identify what problems they've faced in the past. I don't have the knowledge, or I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I've just had bad luck, whatever ends up being, I've just had a bad run. They'll start to then open up, and then you can probe. If you find that a client is giving you one-worded answers, maybe it's time to reframe, from that line of questioning. Don't hammer down that line of questioning, right? You don't want to do that. You want to then, ask something, maybe ask it in a different way. Okay, so what I mean by that is, so say they go, oh, no, yes. Okay, so what I mean by that is reframe the question. Yep. Okay, that is a great tip, actually. If you get a short answer, don't freak out. Just say, okay, what I meant by that is, and then reframe the question. Okay, I can't think of an example on the spot because I'm on the spot, but you want to sort of ask the same question but in a different way. Okay, that's what you want to do, and then sometimes then that will help them open up.
Sweet, dude. So just some final tips on really how people can become better salespeople, just to end this video on a high note. I think people would have got insane value from this video. Please drop a like and comment down below if you want to see this guy on YouTube, because I've been trying to get him on YouTube for like 6 months now. But this is his actual first YouTube video, so comment down below if you'd like to see him start a channel. But yeah, any final tips for the newbies out there when it comes to sales?
That's funny, man. That is a true story. He has been trying to convince me to get on YouTube for some time. So yeah, let me know if you want to do that. But definitely subscribe to this guy. Do it. You need to. His content that he puts out there, he puts a lot of effort into it, and it's great stuff. So you need to be subscribed. But yes, last tips. You need preparation. Okay, preparation is going to be my number one thing when it comes to confidence, when it comes to being chill, when it comes to presenting yourself as just that person that people want to do business with, someone that seems trustworthy. Preparation is going to be huge. Prepare yourself with a script. Prepare yourself with potential things that people can say. And when you get onto a sales call and you find yourself getting stuck, do the work. Okay, this is what they said. I was unprepared. What can I say next time? Write it down and bring it to the next call. that allows you to get that 1% better every day. And that compounding effect eventually will make you a ton of money. Simple as that. It will. I can say that from experience. It will make you a lot of money in the long run. Even if you can't execute perfectly the first time you do something like that, eventually it will make you a lot of money. So preparation.
Awesome, man. Let's wrap it up here. Great to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for coming on. And look, guys, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.